All right, wrestling fans, welcome to Scoop on the Slams, episode 2. Again, bear with us. He's Danny, I'm John. We're nobody special, we're just two wrestling fans that like to talk about this crap. And we decided to start recording it. So, we got some stuff to recap over the week. There was a lot of news, very newsworthy week in wrestling. First of all, they haven't officially announced it, but it was rumored, and it's been on SB Nation. It's been on where else? Wrestling Inc. It's been on a bunch of different sites that the WWE is going to discontinue house shows for this foreseeable future, which doesn't come as a huge surprise to me because they are recording like record profits this year because of all the cuts that they made and everything, and people are still watching on TV, so they're still raking in the money, and they don't see the reason, I guess, to have such a big expense, which are the house shows.
Yeah, they must take like a ridiculous amount of money to put on, so I get it.
Yeah, I totally get it. And also, I'm sure they're taking a page from AEW, even though they won't admit that they are. I think they are. They see that AEW, they work once or twice a week. Morale is way up over there. They like being there. Their bodies aren't, broken by the end of the year. So I think they see that model, and yeah, Vince might be thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't run these guys into the ground 9 days a week, 380 days a year. Maybe they should take some time to rest and not be on the road every single night. So I don't know. That's just me. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know if you agree.
I do. It just makes sense. Your wrestlers have less exposure to injury, and
Then they can last longer.
they get to last longer.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah. We were chatting earlier about Chris Jericho. He's 50 years old and as good as ever.
And he looks better than when he had his latest run with WWE.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yes. Although nothing beats the list, but that
Yet.
All right. So that was the first topic we wanted to touch on, the No More House shows. The second topic we wanted to touch on was the final farewell of The Undertaker that they announced coming up for Survivor Series. Obviously, it's been 30
years
since he debuted at Survivor Series in 1990. And now they're, kind of announcing this farewell tour kind of thing. They didn't say it's his final appearance specifically, but they said it's his final farewell, which tells me
his farewell tour from WrestleMania to now is coming to an end. It's been a few months, and it's warranted.
They've been milking the hell out of it with all these documentaries. But final farewell, this obviously means it's not really his farewell. It's going to be one last run, probably until WrestleMania, which I think, I don't know what you think, I think it's going to be possibly, maybe, a Firefly Funhouse match with Bray.
I would love that as much as I would love anything else. But I'm going to give us like a segue to the next point. But I hope it's against Aleister Black.
That would be cool. Again, it would have to be some kind of cinematic thing. I don't want to see Undertaker.
Oh, absolutely. Cinematic all the way.
I do not want to see Mark Calloway live in a ring ever again for his safety.
For his safety. You're right.
They got to cut him off at some point. Now, Aleister Black, that's an interesting opponent. I thought that maybe a couple of years ago, that's somebody they should call up from NXT and just strap a rocket to him and have him beat Undertaker, kind of like what they should have done with Finn 4 or 5 years ago.
I still think he's the guy.
Yeah. You could definitely do that. Aleister Black or Bray, to kind of undo the mistake they made a few years ago. Bray should have beaten the streak. So yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So we will see. If it's anything like the first Firefly Funhouse match, which was just pure brilliance, maybe the best thing I've seen in wrestling in the last decade. I'm very excited for what they have planned, so we'll see. That was the second topic. Third topic, of course, this just happened yesterday. Zelina Vega released from her contract with WWE. reportedly released 10 minutes after she tweeted that she supports unionization. Now, what you were telling me earlier is that this was kind of in the works already. She was on her way out, and this was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think that was her final like F you to the company, because I think they were at odds for the Twitch stuff, which totally makes sense and sounds on brand for her. And she's taking the hit for the team, because there was a bunch of wrestlers that are on Twitch and trying to make money elsewhere.
And are very successful on Twitch.
Yeah. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and WWE has given them this platform to be successful on Twitch. So
That is true.
we can table that for another discussion, but that's the view that I think WWE has.
Yeah, but then again, it's kind of a double standard because they say having a YouTube channel is okay, but having a Twitch channel is not. So, I don't know. I don't know what their deal is with Twitch. Obviously, Paige has come out and she's made a lot of comments recently about, all the rights that you don't have as a WWE wrestler and how they
She
don't.
was one of the first people that tweeted after they said that. They said Zelina Vega got released. She simply responded, "This sucks,"
Yeah.
and makes sense.
Yeah. And so I think Zelina's not going to be the first one. Like I said, there's other wrestlers that have successful Twitch channels. Obviously, one of the biggest one is Rusev, now known as Miro. He's now with AEW. So this can just cause more movement, more people. Maybe not a lot of people, obviously, but maybe a couple more people might follow suit and seek greener pastures elsewhere where
Maybe.
they're allowed to do that kind of stuff because...
And side note, just speaking of Paige, since you brought her up, she did have like a stalker at her house recently, within the last week, and apparently her boyfriend Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse held the guy until police arrived, and that whole situation was diffused.
That's
So,
badass. Good for
Yeah.
Ronnie Radke. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, not awesome she got stopped, but awesome they stopped him.
Yeah, he. My ultimate respect to Ronnie.
Absolutely.
He's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. So, that was the third thing. The final big news topic that was a big news story this week was AEW Games. So,
Yeah.
AEW did a pretty funny, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's 20 minutes on YouTube. They did like a Steve Jobs style presentation.
Yeah, an Apple presentation basically from when Steve Jobs was alive, obviously.
Yes. And yeah, it was Kenny Omega, Britt Baker, Aubrey, and I believe Cody makes an appearance later.
Yep, Cody.
Yeah, so pretty funny if you haven't watched it, but also it gives you previews of like the upcoming games. There's a console game coming out. There's
and 2 mobile games.
and 2 mobile games coming out. So the trailer does show them. It's pretty cool. Check it out.
Looks pretty cool. Looks very reminiscent of the games of yore, just with better graphics.
Yes. So it should be fun. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Can't, if you know anyone that has a PlayStation 5 that is at a reasonable price, I'm a buyer.
You mean you don't want to wait in line for hours at Target?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. So now let's cover what happened during the week. Let's start with Raw.
Okay.
So after watching Raw, the basic idea I got out of this was Lana's just going to keep being put through tables until the pay-per-view. It's probably going to happen a 9th time this Monday. They can't seem to get along. Raw men's team can't seem to get along. So basically nobody can get along. That was
I mean, that's kind of the theme almost every year, that they can't get along.
yes, with the
Raw women's team, I think that Lana will be the savior and that they will be victorious.
that's what they're building to, it seems like.
They want to make her a sympathetic face,
Underdog.
and so far it's not working, in my opinion. because I'm actually like excited for her going through a table every week. But that's just me.
That might be just you because I actually want to see her fight back and win. But also the fact that it's been so many consecutive weeks, it's making it like a running joke almost.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I think it's just hysterical.
So I just hope this has some sort of payoff and she has her comeuppance and, they have the standard 3 against 1 and she comes back and wins or something like that.
That would make the most sense. And that's totally where I see this storyline going. And maybe eventually giving her some sort of women's title shot. The men's team seems like maybe Riddle will be their savior. I hope.
Yeah.
Because he deserves it the most, in my opinion.
We'll see. I think both Raw teams are going to win.
It does look like both Raw teams are going to win.
Yeah.
Despite Fox being the quote-unquote
The flagship show.
The flagship show
Yeah.
that, paid a ton of money, that Fox paid a ton of money for, and I still think that Raw is going to win.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. It seems like Riddle's going to have his time to shine. Lana will have her comeuppance and have her time to shine because it's not...
And you know what? Keith Lee will have his spots too.
Yeah.
In the match. It just makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah, because it's not like they're going to build towards something and not having kind of a payoff. Anyway, on to the next topic.
Who does that?
Yeah, no, never seen that before. So, anything else to cover on Raw? Anything that we missed?
Other than everything that The Fiend does and Alexa Bliss does is just pure brilliance.
I wanted to talk on Alexa. Alexa Bliss, this is hands down her best acting work and her best character work since she's been called up to the main roster.
Yep.
Easily. And I will go as far as saying Alexa is not long for WWE. I think Hollywood is going to scoop her up in the next year or two.
I think Hollywood will come knocking sooner than later.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if she leaves WWE like high and dry, but I do think that Hollywood comes knocking.
Yeah. No, I think
I do agree with you on that front.
Yeah, I don't think she just leaves them cold turkey, but I think she's got her podcast now where I don't know if you've seen like she interviews not just other wrestlers, she interviews like other celebrities. So
oh, I know. I was all over it. She had Hanson on.
Yeah, exactly. I know what a Hanson fan you are, so
I love Hanson. I'm not gonna. It is what it is. We all have our things. I love them Hanson girls. Wait, they're boys?
We won't touch that one. So she's got those connections, obviously, and
I mean, she is dating Ryan Cabrera, so she's
dating Ryan Cabrera.
She's got those.
Yeah, man.
She's got the music industry contacts now.
Exactly,
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think she's going to leave cold turkey. I think she's going to follow in the footsteps of Batista, The Rock. She'll do a movie, then another movie, and then all of a sudden she's a part-timer, and then phases out.
Yeah, that would make sense. The Rock seemed more abrupt, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it was a different time, though. It was a different time, so...
Fair enough.
And The Rock is The Rock.
I mean, you were sipping on his tequila earlier, so...
I was literally just drinking his tequila right now, so yeah. There you go.
Big ups to Terramana.
Yes, both the Blanco and the other one. They're both good. Try them both.
Reposado,
that's the one. All right, on to Wednesday. So the Wednesday Night War, my new favorite night in wrestling. I watched it initially. I went back and watched both individually, but I watched it live on Wednesday night, the way it was meant to be watched, flipping back and forth. So I saw the beginning of AEW. It was a match between Matt Sydal and Brian Cage, and it was a complete and utter murder. Now, the way this happened for me was when I was watching, I first tuned into NXT, actually. I saw Johnny Gargano spinning the wheel and landing on Leon Ruff. So I was like, oh, obvious what's going to happen here. So I changed the channel on my Hulu app. Saw 5 minutes worth of a murder. And then so when I went back, I see literally Leon Ruff on the entrance ramp being handed the title. And I'm like, I just missed one of the biggest upsets of all time.
You missed Mick Foley winning the title. That's what you just did.
I missed Mick Foley winning the title. I missed Santino Marella winning the Intercontinental title in his debut.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the
Sure
biggest
did.
one of the biggest upsets ever. I missed it.
One of the most unlikely upsets, I'd say.
One of the most unlikely upsets. Yeah. So yeah, I missed it, but of course I went back and watched it. Good for Leon Ruff. Who knows how long that's going to last? I don't know if that's just going to be a temporary thing. I don't know if.
It might. I'm predicting a week,
Yeah. Triple H took a picture with him on Instagram.
which was hilarious
With
because
the
the
belt
belt
on
was
the
on
floor.
the floor because he's so
Fantastic.
thin. It was fantastic.
Fantastic. But Triple H further proving that he gets what the fans like to see. But obviously, I don't think this is going to be like a long run for Leon Ruff. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. He has a really cool backstory, so I'm sure the people liked it. I liked it.
Oh, I liked it too. I just don't think it's believable that he'll hold it on for very, very long.
Yeah, he won't. We'll see who he drops it to. Anyways,
At least with the current landscape. He may drop it next week to Johnny Gargano. Who knows?
who knows? We'll see. It is pretty funny though. He still has that curse going on, so they kept that going. That's a
Yep.
funny
And
little
Sasha
story.
Banks doesn't, so now it's Johnny Gargano syndrome.
Yep. Exactly. So Leon Ruff, and then later on NXT there was a great cruiserweight match, which I thought was one of the matches of the week. But I think the match of the week was the Lucha Bros against each other.
We'll talk about that
We'll talk about that
a bit later.
in a second. But it was a great cruiserweight match. Another thing I noticed on NXT, I really enjoyed Shotzi Blackheart's promo work. Just watching that vignette talking about how much that tank means to her, I really am invested now, and I want to see that match between her and Candice. And also, really,
I knew what the tank meant to her beforehand, but I hope this is just me thinking super out of the box. I hope this leads to like NXT giving her an actual tank.
that would be dope.
Give her the Rusev tank.
Yeah,
Give it.
as a WrestleMania entrance, that would be sick.
Do it.
I would love it. With military out there with her, that'd be cool.
All for it.
All for it. So yeah,
I'm all for her. She's just, she's a rock star. I love her.
I think she's an awesome character. She could improve in the ring, but that comes with time. The Miz was terrible in the ring a decade ago, and look at him now. So impressed with Shotzi. Back to AEW. Kenny Omega in his promo actually mentions the cleaner.
Yes. Mentions the cleaner, asked where he's been, and that we're getting the cleaner again.
I was doing some.
The best bout machine.
Yes.
Oof.
Just the words that he used. Like, I've been a WWE fan for so long, I'm still not used to this. WWE, you're not allowed to mention things from your past, from other promotions.
No, you are not.
He mentioned the cleaner and the best bout machine and 5-star matches, and I'm like I was doing stuff around the house and I had to stop. Like, it got my attention. You know what I
He
mean?
said 5, 6, 7-star matches. We know what he's talking about.
Yes, we know exactly what he's talking about. And Omega, in my opinion, Kenny Omega is the best wrestler on the planet. Best in-ring performer. That's my opinion. And if we
At the moment, absolutely.
yeah,
He is. He's a stud
yeah, and
in every sense of the word.
if they have a 30-minute classic in them between him and John Moxley, who's one of my other favorite wrestlers, I'm looking forward to December 2nd.
It'll be 30-minute.
Easy 30 minutes.
Easy. I don't put it past them.
Yeah, 30-minute classic, December 2nd. I hope it's not their only one. I hope they have a series of matches. Let's see, because it's not at a pay-per-view. It's at a
Right.
Dynamite.
And I hope that their first meeting is just a clean change of championship, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. The bunkhouse match. Dear God, this was violent.
So much blood.
Yes.
So much.
What was your opinion on what you thought it was going to be, and then what it was?
Oh my god. I was expecting WWE levels of some really hokey match, a la like a, I don't know, Smashing Pumpkins match or whatever. Like they just litter the ring with pumpkins and they chuck them at each other, and that's what it is. And you're like, underwhelmed.
Yeah.
But wow. Wow, did this. It started off that way.
Yeah, with
'Cause
the bale of hay.
The Blade threw a bale of hay
Yeah.
at Dustin Rhodes. And I was just like, okay, this is the
Comedy match.
tone. It's going to be comedy. Yeah. And holy cow. No pun intended to Bunkhouse. But wow.
Yeah.
It was violent. It was bloody. I was super uncomfortable at times.
Which is a good hardcore match. If you're uncomfortable, they did their job.
I was like, oh my god, please check on these people.
Yeah. I think they actively were during the match, which, shout out to the refs. They have a very hard job, and they're doing stuff that we're not aware of when we're watching. So
Yeah, they have the power to call a match
Yeah.
I
if someone's dying.
probably would have called it, especially when the Blade was just a fountain of blood at one point, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't follow him on Instagram or anything like that. I would not be surprised if he needed staples or some sort of stitching on his head, because that was nuts.
yeah, it was. Hey, kids, you remember blading?
That was not blading. He actually got hit.
You think he bled hard way?
That was when they like kind of zoomed in on his head, and there was like
A noticeable gash.
there was like a circle. That was not a blade.
You know what? I didn't catch that.
I did. There was like a circle,
wound.
just like oozing blood.
Like a wound on his head.
Oh yeah.
Damn. All right.
However, QT Marshall, total blade job.
He bladed, yeah.
That was
yeah.
100% for sure. But the blade thing was definitely not planned.
Yeah. Very,
That looked like it hurt.
yeah. Very satisfying seeing
Respect.
very satisfying seeing Bunny go through a table. That was fun.
It's always fun.
Yes.
Much like, not to the same degree, but I love seeing Lana go through a table. I'm going to keep bringing that up every time I can.
Hey, if we're bringing it up, it must be working. So yeah, bunkhouse match.
He's got a point.
Bunkhouse match, dear God, violent, but at the same time, good match. I was at the edge of my seat wondering like who's gonna win, like rooting for QT and Dustin. And they won. They came out on top, so hopefully kind of closes that storyline out.
And then we got what I think is the match of the week, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Pentagon versus Rey Fenix.
Some more dear God in that one.
Oh, lots of dear God in that one.
The pile drivers. How is
Everything.
How
It was
is
just a million miles an hour.
how is he not? How's Rey Fenix not dead?
I don't know. He might be dead.
Yeah, they might have just did a
R.I.P.
yeah.
Just Weekend at Bernie's
A
for the
weekend
rest
at
of the match.
Bernie's. Yeah, they might have just done that.
Oh boy.
But before we touch on our matches of the week, one last thing from Wednesday. Well, a couple things from Wednesday night. Back to NXT. The whole Pat McAfee stable. I like it. I think he's a great talker, great heel.
Excellent on the mic. Oh my god.
Excellent on the mic. It's a guy's a good heel and good on the mic when I watch his podcast. I know how he is in real life. Yet his on-screen character, I hate, and I want to see him get his ass kicked. That's how good he is.
That's the power of heel work.
Yeah, that's good heel work, and it's organic, which I love.
Yeah. And you know what? He did a great job of setting up their purpose. Like,
yeah, I agree.
The Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan getting overshadowed by the Undisputed Era.
Yeah,
Great. And then he went all the way back like 2 years for the Pete Dunne stuff, getting screwed by Roderick Strong. And that was great. And obviously he has his own history with
with Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. So that just, it all of it just made sense when he was talking about it, and I really appreciated that he went to the well and went all the way back like 2 years or 2.5 years, whatever it was.
Right. It's not just random people thrown together
Yeah.
like Retribution. Looking at you, Vince, again. Yeah, so Pat McAfee's stable. Really like it. Good work there. And one last thing I want to cover from AEW, which was very cringy. This girl, Jade, I can't even think of her last name. I'm not even going to look it up because, honestly, I really don't care. But her promo, when she came out and interrupted Cody, was just completely awful. I mean,
It was awful. It was random. It felt scripted on an unscripted show.
very robotic.
It was strange.
Yeah.
It was just strange.
It was very, like, all the worst things of WWE, she walked out there and represented.
Yep. Maybe that was the case. Maybe that was their goal. Who knows? But they've semi-buried her in the process. But I'm going to go one more thing for AEW. Mm-hmm. Return of Pac.
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. The return of Pac. It was at the right time
The
because
bastard is back.
it was at the right time because Kingston is there. He like kind of kicks Ray Phoenix out of the ring. Mm-hmm. He's having his little love fest with his new best friend.
With his best friend, Pentagon Jr.
And it's like, and you were starting to feel like somebody come out there and kick their ass. And as soon as you feel that Pac's music hits,
Oh, it was just glorious.
yes. And the fact that he's coming back as a face, like an anti-hero kind of face, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, definitely anti-hero. I wouldn't say he's a face.
Yeah, he's not a heel, that's for sure.
He's in that limbo territory, like Moxley. He's in that limbo territory.
Right. Which is a modern day babyface, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's the babyface that the fans get behind. So yeah, Return of Pac. I thought overall, Wednesday Night War, I thought AEW won this round. I thought they had the better show
I mean, they've won the ratings war
for a good minute.
for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that they put on the better show.
Yeah.
But NXT had a solid show too.
They did. No, they had a solid show. NXT didn't have a bad show, but I thought AEW just edged them out. And back to Jade's promo. What saved it was, I don't know if this was on the fly or what, but Brandy coming out and just burying her was fantastic. So
That was great.
Brandy, thank you for that.
We may or may not see her ever again after that one.
And I'd be okay with that. But apparently we're going to see Shaq.
Maybe?
Yeah. We all know
they did mention that he was backstage.
he
at
was
Full Gear.
backstage at Full Gear.
So-
and he's a huge wrestling fan. So, yeah,
We've known that for ages, and
wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not surprised. I actually hope he doesn't have a match.
I hope he manages a young up and coming guy that feuds with Cody.
Maybe. Or manages Jade. Why not?
Make like a little stable. I don't know. Whatever. Just
Maybe.
Shaq.
We'll see.
Shaq don't wrestle. Jade don't talk. That's it.
Shaq can talk.
Yes.
Welcome to Shaq Cast. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Shaq is a great talker. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that, to see what happens there. But anyway, that's it for the Wednesday Night War
We can
segment.
go right on to Friday.
Yes, which we literally just watched. We're bad fans, I know. We didn't watch it live. But it's fresh in our minds.
We've got lives.
Yes. SmackDown was not the most eventful show. No real surprise. Well, I wouldn't call it a surprise, but Drew McIntyre comes out.
That was a surprise.
That was kind of a surprise. Yeah, I will say that. That was kind of a surprise. Drew McIntyre came out. I was pleasantly surprised because I would much rather see him versus Roman. I think the fans would rather see him versus Roman instead of Roman versus Randy Orton. So
I think that's going to happen. And
I
I
hope
think
so.
that the events of the night alluded to that happening. So we'll keep an eye on that, obviously.
yeah, Randy Orton not coming out and hitting an RKO on somebody out of nowhere surprised me that he just did not make an appearance. So
Yeah, he really should have.
yeah,
I think that was a missed opportunity. But it is what it is. We can't change it.
it is what it is. So yeah, it's kind
I know
of
that he only has a certain amount of dates on his contract, so maybe that would have counted as a date. So I get it.
good point. Good point. All right, so fairly obvious who's winning there on Monday. We think Drew might be winning the title back, but we'll see.
We hope.
We've been swerved before.
We have been swerved before, but
Yeah.
I really do hope, given how much attention they paid to it on this particular episode of SmackDown, it seems like the writing's on the wall for Randy. Seems like it's been a good run of 2 weeks.
Yes. So yeah, there's that, and then another thing I noticed from SmackDown, Otis won his match, which was nice.
That was surprising.
That you know what, I stand corrected. A couple surprising moments on SmackDown. Yeah, Otis
I was genuinely surprised by that.
genuinely surprised, genuinely happy for him that he beat Dolph Ziggler in 5 minutes. Yeah,
And that he kind of like scared off
Bobby
Bobby
Roode.
Roode.
Yeah,
That was just it was
cool.
it was blue collar solid.
Yes. And then when his music hit and he came out, I got like Dusty Rhodes vibes. And then
Yeah,
he said,
and I got Bushwhacker vibes, given
Yeah.
like he was doing the whole
yeah,
thing.
the beard and yes, the burp, burp.
So, that's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, so
I'm
he's
not gonna do the whole motion because that would look ridiculous, but whatever. You know what I mean.
so he's like a Bushwhacker Dusty kind of guy now.
He's a hybrid. They're building him at like just like they did with him and Tucker. They had this like blue collar solid thing, and it was just
Yeah.
it was working. And I think that it works better as a singles personality versus a tag personality. It just works, and you pair that with the caterpillar thing that he does.
Yeah.
It just all of it. It ticks a lot of boxes, and I like it.
I like it too. So yeah, pleasant surprise that he won his match. I hope he starts getting a nice push and they start kind of rebuilding him, because he kind of got torn down with, getting the Money in the Bank taken away, which, to be fair, I don't think putting the Money in the Bank on him was a good move.
It was not a smart decision. You were
'Cause-
absolutely right.
You can tell they gave it to him and then they're like, okay, where do we go from here?
Yeah, because if they already had the plans for Roman set in place,
Right.
it was just like literally a ratings grab.
It
just
was-
for that,
Just to get the fans' attention.
just the
Yeah.
spot, and that's it.
Right, exactly. So,
Like you literally would have had more success putting it on King Corbin.
don't mention that name on this podcast. I can't stand him.
Neither can I, but it would have been better.
I guess, because you would have wanted him to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, you would have wanted him to lose his opportunity again.
Right. Another segment that was pretty entertaining, the Street Profits. I like them on my screen anytime. They're fantastic.
Yep.
Them
they
and
just
they-
just make sense.
them and Big E together, you can tell they have chemistry. Great talkers. And I don't think they're going to have a feud between them because, again, Big E's being pushed as a singles competitor, but they kind of alluded to Hurt Business possibly beating the New Day, taking the tag titles, facing
Which
them,
would make sense for Survivor Series. You got a
heel versus face,
heel versus face, which is the same thing that we think for the
world title.
the McIntyre Randy Orton match on Raw will end in a McIntyre victory. I have a whole theory on that I think that Roman Reigns will be the cause of McIntyre winning, but that is yet to be seen, but I really hope that's true.
That would throw a nice wrinkle into the story.
It would.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I'd be all about it.
So yeah, aside from those things, it wasn't the most eventful episode of SmackDown. Drew McIntyre beat Jey Uso, which
Jey Uso,
is not surprising.
And then backstage, before the match even happened, Jey Uso got like berated by
Roman.
Reigns, like saying that like you don't get to make the matches
Yeah.
around here, and
I call the shots around here. Yeah, right.
Tribal Chief.
Yeah. All that stuff. Yeah, so that was pretty much it for SmackDown. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up what happened this week. Matches of the week. I think I'm going to have to agree with you. The Rey Fenix Pentagon Jr. match was the match
It just
of the week.
made sense to be
Yeah.
the match of the week this week.
And
that was my pick. I think I had to convince John to pick that. 'Cause you had something originally picked before.
I was on the fence between that one and the Cruiserweight title match, which was also a very good match. Like,
yeah, I hear you.
very, very good match. But this one just had so much more story to it.
It had so much. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think they need to build El Hijo del Fantasma or Santos Escobar, whatever you want to call him today. You need to give him more story before he can get on that level.
Yeah.
This one just had a lot more story to it. And it tied into so many other things.
Right. And great commentary work to go with it by Kingston.
Ugh. Who doesn't know that wrestling is... We're just kidding.
Does he know it's a work?
We're sorry.
There's still no proof he knows it's a work.
There's still no proof that he doesn't know that it's not real.
It's definitely real to him. So, yeah, no, I agree. And again, Rey Fenix, I think he got dropped on his head, clean on his head so many times in that match. Just
it gave me a concussion watching it.
My neck hurts just thinking about it. I mean, so violent and brutal.
And it led to the return of Pac, which just like...
Good way to end the show.
Good way to end the show. It starts a rivalry between Pac and Eddie Kingston, hopefully, which would be...
That would be great.
A great match. I can't even like...
Great.
I can't even begin to describe how much that would like tick a whole bunch of boxes for me.
Yes. Totally agree, man. So... Yeah, that's pretty much it for me, man. Anything you want to add?
No, we've got our build for Survivor Series. We still need a couple of team members for each of the teams, if I'm not mistaken, from the SmackDown side.
Yes, SmackDown still needs two from, which I'm surprised they didn't settle that in this episode. So I guess they're waiting till
the go home show. We'll see.
Yeah. So
that's our build to Survivor Series.
Pretty much. So. We will be tuning in, obviously.
We absolutely will.
And we'll report on that. So anyway. And before we forget, please subscribe, like our channel, like the videos, hit the little bell. That way you get notified every time we post something.
Yep.
And, just help us grow the channel. Like I said earlier, we're nobody special. We're just two wrestling fans, lifelong wrestling fans that just want to talk about it.
Talk about it. We need an outlet.
Yes.
Because we're...
An outlet for our frustration, for the things that we want to see.
Yes. And we're tired of it falling on deaf ears just amongst us, too.
Yes.
So we want more people to identify with us.
Yes. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. See ya.